Welcome to our deep dive into the top AI news today, folks. Sunday, March 30th, 2025.
Okay.
And just to let you know up front, this entire AI daily deep dive, it was researched and written entirely by AI.
Oh, wow.
Pretty meta.
Yeah, that's very meta.
We've got a fascinating mix of articles to unpack today, touching on some key areas where AI is really making waves. So we're going to start by looking at Apple's AI strategy and why some people are raising concerns.
Oh,
Then we'll delve into their plans for AI and personalized health coaching.
sounds interesting.
And then we have this pretty thought-provoking idea, kind of a head-scratcher,
Mm-hmm.
about AI maybe advancing as human intelligence plateaus.
Oh, that's interesting.
After that, we'll cover the latest news on Elon Musk's reported plan to overhaul Social Security system using AI.
Wow.
And finally, we'll wrap up with the trend of parents and teachers introducing AI to young children.
So a broad overview of all things AI happening right now.
Exactly, hitting on all those key areas. So, yeah, let's jump right in and see what stands out.
Since-
Let's start with this article that really caught my eye, titled, Something is Rotten. Apple's AI strategy faces doubts.
Okay.
It seems like there was a lot of buzz, a lot of anticipation after Tim Cook announced Apple Intelligence back in June 2024, especially around the revamped Siri and its integration with the new iPhones.
Yeah, I remember that.
But what's interesting is there seems to be this gap between all that initial excitement and where things actually are right now.
Right.
This article points out the delay in rolling out those personalized Siri features, which were a core part of Apple Intelligence, And while that's happening, their competitors, like Amazon, are actively integrating generative AI, the kind that can create content like text and images, into their voice assistant.
Like Alexa.
Exactly, like Alexa.
Yeah.
And this brings up what looks like a real fundamental challenge for Apple. Their commitment to user privacy, which is great, versus the massive amounts of data that are needed for those really advanced personalized AI features.
It's a tough balance.
It is, right. This marketing professor, Marcus Collins, he suggests that this commitment to privacy might actually be holding Apple back in AI. So it makes you wonder, can they really compete at the top level while also protecting user privacy so carefully?
That's the central question, isn't it? They've built their whole brand around privacy, which resonates with so many people.
Yeah.
But the most powerful AI models, they need mountains of data to train.
Right.
So this delay with Siri's personalization, it could be them trying to figure out that balance, how to make things more personalized without, compromising user information.
It's a tricky situation.
Yeah.
Now, there's another perspective from this tech analyst, Avi Loeb. He compares Apple to Google's Gemini, which runs on Android phones.
Okay.
He makes the point that up until now, AI on smartphones, it hasn't really changed how we use them all that much.
That's true.
So maybe Apple has more time to catch up than we think.
Yeah. There's no, killer app yet.
Exactly. There's no killer AI app yet.
Across the board.
Right.
So that gives Apple some breathing room.
But then, Greengard also points out some broader concerns about Apple. He mentions their heavy reliance on the iPhone and the, I guess you could say, lukewarm reception to the Vision Pro headset.
Right.
And that makes you wonder about their ability to really innovate.
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to AI.
It does.
And this is all happening as questions are being asked about their long-term strategy, right? They've had huge success with the iPhone, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But with technology changing so fast, are they adapting fast enough to this new AI-dominated world?
Right.
It makes you think, and the article even mentions their financial results. Their revenue is still enormous, of course, $124.3 billion in the last quarter alone.
Wow.
But it's not that explosive growth everyone expected, So while their financial foundation is really strong, those questions around their AI strategy, they have really big implications for their future. The whole tech industry is moving toward AI. So Apple has to show that they can not only keep up, but actually lead the way in this new landscape while still upholding their commitment to privacy, which is, such a big part of their brand.
It's a lot to balance.
It is. It's a lot to balance.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's move on to another area where Apple is looking to incorporate AI personalized health coaching.
Okay.
This is reportedly under the name Project Mulberry, or Health Plus.
Health plus AI.
Okay? It sounds like a really, really big deal.
Yeah.
Potentially a huge application of AI in everyday life.
How so?
Well, the idea is to use all the health data that Apple devices are already collecting, right?
Heart rate? steps?
Exactly. Heart rate, activity levels, sleep patterns.
Mm.
And then they use AI to give you personalized health and wellness advice based on all that data.
So it's like having a virtual health coach.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
And the article even mentions that they're bringing in medical professionals
Oh, wow.
to help train these AI agents and to create like targeted video content for this program.
That's a pretty big investment.
It is.
They must see a lot of potential there.
Definitely. And it seems like they're going beyond the Apple Watch, too.
Really?
They're looking to build health monitoring into AirPods eventually.
AirPods.
Yeah, tracking things like temperature, even breathing patterns.
Wow.
But the article also says these features are still in development, facing technical challenges.
Of course.
But here's the thing. This whole health coaching initiative, its success really hinges on those AI capabilities that we were just talking about, the ones that are being questioned.
Right.
You know, the mixed reaction to Apple Intelligence, the delayed Siri overhaul.
Yeah.
It shows they still have some work to do on the foundation of their AI if they want these more advanced applications like personalized health coaching to really take off.
Makes sense.
And of course, you know, when you're dealing with sensitive health data, well, the ethical and privacy concerns, they become even more crucial, right?
Yes, sir.
The article stresses that Apple needs to have really strong safeguards and be completely transparent about how this data is collected, analyzed, and used.
People need to trust them.
Exactly. Building trust is going to be key.
It's non-negotiable, especially with health data.
Totally agree. But if Apple can manage these ethical and privacy challenges,
Right.
well, they could revolutionize healthcare and well-being through this personalized AI coaching.
Yeah, that would be huge.
It would be huge. And, you know, there's a lot of anticipation for their upcoming Worldwide Developer Conference. So we might get some answers then.
Looking forward to that.
Me too. Me too. All right, now let's switch gears for a minute and talk about this thought-provoking article by Avi Loeb.
Okay.
It's titled, Superhuman AI is Closer Than We Think for the Wrong Reason.
That's a bold statement.
It is. And it's a bit unnerving, to be honest.
How so?
Well, he puts forward this idea that AI could reach human-level intelligence in the next 5 to 10 years, which we've heard before, right?
Yeah, Demis Hassabis has talked about that timeline.
Right, but Loeb's suggesting that this might happen because human intelligence is maybe declining.
That's a bit concerning.
It is, isn't it? He's basically saying that while AI is getting smarter, we might be getting, well, not as smart.
And he has evidence to support this.
Yeah, he mentions a study published in the journal Intelligence, which found a decrease in American IQ scores between 2006 and 2018.
Really?
Yeah, and not just in one area. They saw declines in logic, vocabulary, math skills, even visual problem solving, which is a big deal because it challenges what we thought we knew about intelligence trends.
It's the Flynn effect.
Exactly, the Flynn effect. It's been the accepted idea for decades that IQ scores should be going up over time.
And now the study is suggesting the opposite.
Right, and what's even more striking, Loeb points out, is that the biggest declines were seen in the younger age groups, like 18 to 22-year-olds.
Wow, that's worrying.
It is, and Loeb suggests that maybe, just maybe, this has something to do with the increasing presence of digital media and AI in our lives.
You mean like all the screen time?
Yeah, all the screen time. He talks about how it could be affecting things like verbal fluency and attention spans, which are crucial for cognitive development.
That makes sense.
And then he makes this really interesting point that human intelligence, it thrives on challenges, on active engagement, right? But the convenience that AI offers, it might be making us a bit lazy, intellectually speaking.
Like we're on intellectual vacation mode.
Exactly. And if that's true, it has pretty big implications for society as a whole, right?
Yeah, think about it.
Our ability to think critically, solve complex problems, these are essential for a functioning democracy.
It's crucial for informed decision-making.
Exactly. And Loeb also warns against becoming too reliant on AI-processed information.
Right.
Like always getting our information filtered through AI without actually engaging with original sources ourselves.
Yeah, developing our own understanding.
And his solution to all this is pretty interesting. He calls for a reevaluation of our education systems. To put more emphasis on, like, real intellectual rigor and inquiry-based learning.
To make us think harder.
Exactly, to actively fight this potential decline in cognitive abilities. It's a pretty sobering thought, isn't it?
It is.
All right, well, let's move on to something a little bit different now. This report about Elon Musk and his secret project to rewrite the Social Security system's code using AI.
Yeah, that caught my attention too.
If this is true, It's a massive undertaking
Yeah.
and potentially very impactful.
Definitely. The Social Security system is so important for so many people.
Absolutely. And the article says that Musk is leading this effort to modernize the SSA's computer systems, which still run on this old programming language called COBOL.
COBOL, that's from like the 1950s, right?
Yeah, late 1950s. It might seem ancient,
It does.
but it's actually incredibly robust and reliable.
Right.
And it still powers a lot of critical systems around the world, including the SSA, which processes like over 65 million payments every month.
Wow.
So the main reason for this project is to update that aging COBOL infrastructure because there are fewer and fewer programmers who know how to work with it.
I can see why that would be a problem.
It is, and the solution they're proposing is to use generative AI to analyze all that existing COBOL code and then automatically translate it into more modern programming languages.
Wow, that's ambitious.
It is, and it highlights this bigger trend of using cutting-edge technology to update these really important systems. But what's both fascinating and a little bit scary is how much they're relying on AI for something so critical.
Right.
AI can definitely speed up the process, but it's not perfect.
And the consequences of errors could be huge.
Exactly. Any mistakes made during that automated translation could have massive repercussions for millions of people who depend on those Social Security payments.
It's high stakes.
Very high stakes. And the article raises questions about whether Musk's, his move fast and break things approach is the right way to handle something as vital as Social Security.
Especially when it comes to people's livelihoods.
Exactly. And there are also ethical concerns about potential cost-cutting measures or changes in how the system is managed as part of this modernization.
Those are valid concerns.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how this unfolds, but one thing's for sure, they need to be extremely careful.
Absolutely.
All right, let's wrap things up with this article that I found really intriguing about how parents and teachers are starting to use AI with young children.
Oh, that is interesting.
It seems like it's a growing trend, even though a lot of popular AI platforms have age restrictions.
Like 13 and up.
Right. But the article gives several examples of parents using tools like ChatGPT and Gemini with their kids who are younger than that.
Like, how are they using them?
It's for all sorts of things, from homework help to like making up imaginative stories. Some are using it for nature identification.
Okay.
Answering questions, even language translation. It shows you how accessible and versatile these AI tools are becoming.
Yeah, they're becoming part of family life.
They are, but the article also points out that some parents are hesitant.
Understandably.
Yeah, they have concerns about how AI might affect their children's creativity.
Right.
And they're also wondering about copyright issues with AI-generated content, which is a whole other can of worms.
It is, but it's not just parents who are using AI with kids.
Right. Teachers are getting in on it, too.
Really?
Yeah, the article talks about how some teachers are using AI to give feedback on essays, help with descriptive writing, even simulating historical figures to make learning more engaging.
That's creative.
It is, but they're also cautious about it. They stress the need to double-check the AI's output.
Right. Make sure it's accurate.
Exactly. And to encourage critical thinking in their students. And some teachers are using AI for things like generating speech topics or helping students grasp tough concepts, which sounds really helpful. But again, the article emphasizes the need for balance.
To avoid over-reliance on AI.
Exactly. And to make sure it doesn't hinder the development of essential skills like critical thinking and problem solving. So, this early exposure to AI could have a really big impact on how kids learn and interact with information.
Yeah, shaping how they see the world.
It really does, and it raises all these questions about how to integrate AI responsibly and what the long-term effects might be.
It's a big responsibility.
It is a big responsibility. So we've covered a lot today, haven't we?
We have.
From Apple's challenges in balancing privacy with AI advancement to the potential of AI in personal health. The idea that human intelligence might be plateauing while AI surges ahead.
It's a lot to think about.
It is. And then we had Elon Musk's ambitious plan to revamp Social Security using AI, and finally, the growing trend of introducing AI to young children.
It's a really diverse set of developments.
It is, and it just shows you how dynamic and multifaceted the world of AI is right now.
Absolutely. It's changing so rapidly.
It is, and that brings us to our final thought for today. We've seen how AI can potentially revolutionize our health, help us learn, even reshape critical systems like Social Security.
Yeah.
But it also raises some big questions about our own intelligence, our privacy, and the potential risks of relying too heavily on AI. So I want to ask you, What do you think is the most exciting opportunity, or maybe the most pressing challenge that these developments present? It's something worth thinking about. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI. We'll see you next time.